shut your border and stop allowing fentanyl into our country, killing our people. So this is a separate tariff to create action from Mexico and action from Canada. And as far as I know, they are acting swiftly. And if they execute it, there will be no tariff.
Well, there you go. That's such an important point. You know, Mr. Trump, master tariff diplomacy. And a lot of times the tariff threats never materialize because people take action. Anyway, joining us now to talk about this, Ohio Senator Bernie Moreno, member of the Senate Commerce Committee, who was there at the Howard Lutnick hearing. Senator Moreno, thank you, sir. We appreciate it very much. I just want to start with this because, after all, Mr. Trump has said several times he could go to 25% with Canada and Mexico on February 1st, which is Saturday, just a couple days from now. And I'm looking for clues. And it sounded like Howard Lutnick today, actually Caroline Leavitt in the press room yesterday, that Mexico and Canada are helping us to close the border. Now, how did you see it today in the hearing? What can you add to that from my friend Howard Lutnick? And/or what do you think about the February 1 deadline, Senator?
Well, first of all, let me just say Howard Lutnick did an incredible job. He absolutely wowed the entire committee, showed his true character. This guy's an American success story, lived the American dream, is now serving his country. In terms of Mexico and Canada, look at the border crossings. They are at all-time low. Mexico stepped up to the plate. Canada has too. We're going to get these border crossings down to near zero. And I think when that happens, I think President Trump's going to look at that and look, it's worked, right? Biden couldn't get it done in 4 years. These border crossings were at 14,000, 15,000 a day. Now they're at almost numbers that we never thought were possible. So his form of diplomacy works. I think the question is what happens long term, because we can't continue to have Mexico and Canada treat us unfairly. In the auto industry, which I care a lot about, we're making 4 million cars in Mexico and Canada that are sold here in the United States. That makes a big difference to this country. So we got to work through that. And I think President Trump will get us there.
Senator Moreno, will you request that President Trump either redo or reform or something the USMCA deal that, you know, was quite painful when it was finally completed, I guess, back in 2018 or 2019. We all worked on that. Bob Lighthizer had the lead. He did an incredible job, but it was a very hard thing to do. Will you want to see some changes in USMCA?
Well, I think more importantly, President Trump wants to see some changes. I think he still thinks that Canada takes advantage of us. Mexico certainly does. In Ohio, which I care a lot about for obvious reasons, we've continued to see our industrial base decimated. We just had Republic Steel that got shut down and a brand new steel factory built in Mexico, and that same steel is now being shipped into this country tariff-free. So we can't allow those kinds of conditions to exist. What we want is reciprocal, fair trade. And I think that's what President Trump's going to insist on.
Yes, that is his view. He wants reciprocity. You tax us, we're going to have to tax you. But if you stop taxing us, then we'll stop taxing you. I mean, it's very simple. I don't know Howard Lutnick said that or not. Did you glean anything from Howard today about what Mr. Trump sometimes calls ring around the collar tariffs, universal baseline of 10% or 20% or anything like that? Did you hear anything about that from Howard Lutnick?
Well, I think the president has been clear, and Howard made it even more clear, that he works at the pleasure of the president. His job is to execute President Trump's agenda. I think the president has been clear that we're going to have some sort of baseline tariffs that are across the board, because we have to make certain that we protect American jobs, protect American manufacturing, not just for economic reasons, but for national security reasons, especially around the auto industry.
You know, I'm in favor of it. Not because I actually never met President William McKinley. I just missed him in the historical timeline. But one thing I like about the universal tariffs, I mean, it gives Trump a lot of negotiating flexibility, but it'll raise money. I mean, depending on whether it's 10% or what, it's $500 billion. It could be $1 trillion. That could pay for tax cuts to make America and America workers more competitive, wealthier, happier, and, you know, the blue-collar boom that we want.
You're exactly right. That's exactly the message that President Trump has been providing. Look, McKinley was from Ohio. He's renamed
right.
Mount McKinley accordingly. So look, we love President McKinley. I think President Trump is going to take that mantle on. I think you're exactly right. That's why my bill to fund the External Revenue Service, take agents from the Internal Revenue Service that wreak havoc on American citizens. Let's go have them collect money from countries and companies that have been ripping us off.
Terrific stuff. Senator Bernie Mario, Ohio, that's right. McKinley was from Ohio. Actually, you know, in the 19th century, most of the presidents were from Ohio, as I recall. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time.
And now a vice president from Ohio.
Yes, there we go. All right. Terrific stuff.